Oh, now we got somebody else.
I think, guys, just watch
What's
what you
going
press.
on? Yeah. All right, let me go here and go back. Somehow people are taking over the whole screen. I don't know how that's happening.
Sorry, I spotlighted your video so that your screen would be big for everybody.
Oh.
But I can cancel that if you like.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay, yeah, because, yeah, people were like, other people were taking over the whole screen.
Okay. Okay, thank you. No, that's a little minor problem. We're all getting used to this new amazing technology. Okay, so having said that, we are all here together today, and please join us in January, and let's make this a wonderful event this morning or this evening, wherever you guys are in the world. And how about we all begin just by closing our eyes? Let's be quiet for a little bit longer this morning, if you don't mind. We'll tell you when to reopen your eyes. So let's just close your eyes, feel into your presence, be here now with us. And let's be quiet. Thank you.
I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Is that okay? Please mute.
You have no choice. You have no choice. Okay, so we're all going to sit here quietly for 10 or 15 minutes.
Thank you, everyone.
That was the teaching.
Bye. No, we're just joking.
It's been real.
In a way, it is.
Now it goes downhill from here, except when you get to the Rasa, and then it goes back up.
Exactly. So we're going to count a lot on you guys today to ask us questions, because, you know, we really don't have much to say. How many of you have never been or seen or know anything about Rasa at all? Are there any new people? Should we start off by talking of, there we go, we have one. Oh, great. So I think then Ramaji needs to start off and give us the bit of the Rasa wrap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some new people, but a lot of familiar faces too. So hi guys, everybody, we love you. That's beautiful. It's all those hands. Yeah, so the short version is that in 2011, I was just doing a conventional spiritual healing with someone, and this big ball of radiant white light came down into the person's head and into their body, and they had chronic pain, chronic fatigue syndrome, stuff like that, and they got better. And so I thought it was a physical healing, but it turned out to be an attitudinal healing, a raise in their consciousness. And then I continued to do the same thing with other people. And then eventually somebody said, hey, I just awakened. And I was skeptical in the beginning because it only takes 15 minutes to give a one-on-one individual Rasa like Ananda and I do. And there's about 20 trained Rasa givers around the world, certified to do this. And some of them are every bit as good as we are, maybe better, who knows. But anyway, so first person says they're awakened, and I got started doing it. And then at some point it became clear to me that the wave of the future with Rasa is groups. And I have a relationship with Divine Mother Kali Ma, and I was having a conversation with her, and she said, oh, well, you know, for the whole group thing, guess what? I'm sending you somebody to help you do that, because I know you don't really like doing groups all that much by yourself. And I said, that's the truth. So she said, I'm going to send you somebody. And then the two of you are going to do groups together. And then the whole thing of giving group Rasa is going to take on a life of its own and go to a new level. So that was in November 2015. And Kali, or Divine Mother, or my super consciousness, or whatever you want to think of her as, described this person, what she would look like, or what she would be like, etc. And then that person showed up in February 2016, and it was Ananda Devi. And so she's really helped to transform Rasa into a spiritual power for awakening that now has global potential, in part due to now doing groups, which of course is amazing if you can give Rasa to thousands of people at one time, and eventually we expect to do that. But also in terms of structuring this whole Rasa enterprise in a way that is going to make it work for a lot more people in a lot better way. So she's really been instrumental, and I'm no longer a one-man show. But so Rasa is basically, it's in essence not our energy, where it's not our Shakti pot. You know, we're not gurus. We are facilitators, activists. You know, I'm FedEx, she's UPS. I mean, we just deliver.
The milkman.
Yeah,
Gary G's the milkman.
Yeah, we deliver the product, but we did not create it. And it's a divine energy that has decided to come down and help all of us, help us all out, and help us awaken. And people come to us, and it's very clear that these people know why they're here. They're here not to study. They're not to learn. They're here to finish, and they're here to be done. And that's what the Rasa does. And the group Rasa is very powerful. And some people have, in fact, awakened from the group Rasa only. And it's even possible that some people have awakened just from listening to the recording, you know, of these open circle videos, open circle Rasa satsangs that are on YouTube. So there are people who are having some pretty amazing experiences and perhaps awakenings just from the free recordings due to the Rasa at the very end. So, you know, we're sharing the love and we're very happy with all those results. So the group Rasa keeps getting more and more powerful, and it's very much the result of the two of us doing it together. Plus, if, you know, with certain other kinds of group Rasa calls, we do have other Rasa givers joining us. And then it's even more powerful. Anyway, so that's the basic story.
Let's go see what's in this next.
You want to see who else is here?
Yes.
All right. Oh, yeah. We're just looking at all of you. Seeing lots of familiar faces.
There's Gunnar. Yeah, I want to talk briefly about our Rasa givers in the world. There are now about 20, as Ramaji said. We take training our Rasa givers incredibly seriously. They are people of the most highest quality, integrity, kind, loyal, decent human beings. They have what I call a very pure vessel. You know, I work with them very closely. You can't see these people.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just say when we give the Rasa, because we got a whole page of people that there's no video. So when we give the Rasa, we just want you to know, if you want to be invisible right now, that's okay. But when we give the Rasa, we prefer to have your visual, even if it's just a picture of you or something.
That's good.
Yeah.
Stay here. Yeah, so as I was saying, we also have a new website that we're launching on the roughly around the 18th of December, and all our Rasa givers will be there, and you are all invited and encouraged to use them as channels or whatever you want to call it, and transmitters, and they are as effective as we are, and incredible. So yeah, and that'll be fine. There will be a section on the website that says International Rasa Givers and a little bit about them and their picture. Right?
I just want to say the name.
Yes.
It's going to be RasaTransmissionInternational.com, just so you know.
Yeah.
And we're going to be sending people from Ramaji.org to RasaTransmissionInternational.com.
And we encourage you to use them. We encourage you to get to know them. They really are remarkable. And the way to spread this is via others. So we need their help, and they're here to help us. That's what they do. Okay, so any questions about the Rasa? Anything you want us to talk about today specifically, because you have anything you want to know? Anything you want to discuss?
Yeah, actual auditory question.
Gary, you want to ask? You got anything?
No,
No.
he doesn't.
Okay.
He's too cold. He's too cold to have anything.
Yeah, he needs to get a.
Oh, who, me? Who, me?
Did you raise your hand? I thought you raised your hand.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't raise my hand. I was doing, I was just fiddling around with some mala. You know, I was listening.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh,
Fabulous.
you're doing the secret mantra, were you, Gary?
I was doing that, too. But that was secret.
Yeah,
Yeah, secret, exactly.
Yeah, the secret mantra. Which is silence, which we already gave you the secret mantra.
We gave you the silence. Exactly.
I will say
anybody else?
I will say one thing, if I may, about questions. I have to be very frank and say I have no questions, because really and truly, you know, the guy who would be asking questions now is like kind of not there, in a sense. I mean, there's no questions anymore. There's just the experience of this, what we're calling the natural state.
Mm-hmm.
I have no questions. There's no questions.
No questions without a questioner.
Mm-hmm. Right,
exactly. And no need for answers, no need for questions. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'll say some stuff, unless you know, our moderator is going to handle if somebody wants to talk or ask a question.
There
Yeah.
are a few people with questions.
Okay, well, let's...
Yeah, we can't see everybody, so it works best that way because we have
we're not...
a limited a capacity to see on.
The first person is Andrea Lemon. And I just like to encourage people to use the raise hand function as opposed to raising your hand on the screen. And that can be found under the participants icon at the bottom of the screen.
Let's move. I want to see Andrea. I haven't seen her in so long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
I like Andrea. Hey, Andrea.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you guys.
Yes.
I have a general question about, I've been talking like on Reddit about awakening with people, and there's a question that's come up that, you know, I have my own thoughts about, but I'm wondering what your take is. Do you think it's possible for somebody to awaken, and I can't remember how your numbers work, but maybe in the like high 500s or something, and still have pretty strong ill will, like you know, active feelings of racism or warmongering or that kind of thing? Because this is, to me, that seems like that couldn't be awakening, but I don't know if it's possible to have, you know, enough delusion or whatever else that you might still hold these views while still having crossed over to at least a partly awakened threshold. Do you follow?
Oh, yeah. Should I answer that one?
Well, we can both go for it.
All right, well.
I could have a blast here, but but I'll let that go for it.
Well, let me go first, and then you can finish it, and I know you have your own thing to say about it. Okay, first of all, the actual scale from the 1000 book is non-dual awakening starts at 640 and goes up to 1000. So anybody who's in the 500s is still be called somebody seeking. What you're talking about does happen, but it's more likely to happen at the lower rungs of awakening when the person, like it's fairly common for teachers in the 600s. There's a lot of teachers in the 600s or people in the 600s to have a kind of nihilistic view that they express, or they're kind of, you know, they're not, they've still got a lot of work to do. And, you know, there could be some heavy baggage, but they are legitimately awakened. And this is, of course, very confusing. But one of the reasons for stressing that a person keeps going is basically the higher you go, 700s, 800s, up to 1000, the more pure your behavior will be, and the more pure you are, until fundamentally at 1000 you're considered clear. You know, you've gone back to zero, you've been reborn, the I thought is gone. Now, even then though, there can definitely, in fact there is, for everybody to some extent, a momentum from past, you know, mind, emotion patterns. They have a momentum, and they run out of gas because there's no more fear and resistance and clinging and attachment to fuel them, so they run out of gas and fall away. But during that period of time, even post 1000, like in Zen, they say after a major awakening, allow 7 years. So, you know, these great masters like Nisargadatta, Ramana, and so on, you know, they were, when they became well known, it had been 10 years, 20 years that they were at 1000, self-realization, whatever you want to call it. And so they really worked through all that stuff, you know. I went to 1000 in 2008, so what's that, about 9 years? And, you know, I've seen the same process, but I wasn't ready to teach until 3 years. It took me 3 years after, and I worked through a ton of stuff, and I'm still working through stuff. So it's sort of, you know, you're perfectly imperfect, but you're quite right. And just the dawn of compassion in a person, even a teacher, we've noticed, it's a big question for us too, we've noticed compassion does not necessarily dawn in an awakened person, or not that much, not in a way that's that different from a regular person. And yet in others, they're, you know, tremendous beings, tremendous great human beings like the Dalai Lama and so on, and they are exemplary. So it's a mystery, we know, honestly, but in the lower levels, you're much more likely to see behavior that is grossly inappropriate and cruel and, you know, selfish and things like that.
I don't know if I should say anything, you know. You know, I can see the students who know me are really starting to laugh now. You know, I always say, I guess the fundamental understanding at 1000 is, gee, I can just be myself. The separation people are generally feeling pre getting to that stage, is they really feel very separated from their essence, their core. And when you ask yourself, so then what exactly is my essence, this presence, this isness? You do eventually come to the fact that it is love. Love manifests in many ways. Sometimes it's gentle, sometimes it's tough love, and it depends on what you're doing with your love, really, and how you're expressing it, what you're saying, how you helping people and all that. But it isn't for everyone. For example, not everyone at 1000 wants to teach or has anything to say. And then for me, you know, what I find with people is the two common pitfalls are, okay, I'm at 1000, now I can just be myself regardless of what that means. I can say what I want and do what I want, and if that means I'm hurting the person in front of me, who gives a shit, you know? Or I'm just going to sit on the couch, and if the universe does something in this body, it does it, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. You're still not integrated. You still don't get it then. And you can be there, and it just takes a couple of years, months, who knows. You know, and that is actually why we do offer the post 1000 coaching, because it's easy for some people. They get it like almost immediately. They just really get it, and they're coming from a very pure place of purity, a place of understanding. And for others, it just takes a little bit longer to integrate. It takes they're still not 100% sure how to master this spiritual understanding and kind of amalgamate it into their life. In other words, because there is no separation between the spiritual I and the I that's living in life. You know, it has to become one thing. You know, you can't say, oh, I'm going to go to the mountains and meditate and then be in your life a jackass. You know, then you haven't quite understood that it's always one thing taking place. But at the same time, your expression, how you express yourself, how you get things out, you know, you have to take the person in front, you have to consider the person sitting in front of you. You know, what I always say is, where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? Your head, or are you coming from your heart? Do you see the person sitting in front of you? Can you meet them where they are at? Not where you're at. Where are they?
Yeah,
you know?
so you awaken, and then when you're at 1000, then everything is the self. And okay, but then there's living that way, to where everything is the self, you are the self, everything is God. You know, that other person is your very own precious beloved self. So knowing everything is the self is one thing. Knowing that that other person or the dog or the cat or, you know, is your very own precious beloved self, that doesn't happen right away.
No.
See, so the
time.
humanization of this, and really the transcendence of spirituality. See, moving beyond spirituality, going beyond enlightenment, going beyond all these concepts, to where living in the moment, living in the now, means only don't know, means you're free of all the concepts, and you're simply living here and now, no preconceived anything, not even spirituality, not even, you know, and then, you know, the higher power totally takes over, and the magic can happen. You know, the blessings can happen, you know. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are, you know, they're actually stuck on their enlightenment. I'm enlightened, you know, even if they're 1000, there's those tendencies can still be there. Anyway, it's a
Yeah.
great question.
It's a really good question. And there's so much we can talk about in that area alone, but not everyone here is there yet. So that's a kind of like, I'd like to get them to that place, and then we can have a whole group of that
postgraduate discussion.
Postgraduate discussion, yeah, exactly.
But it's relevant because people see teachers and wonder about their behavior and wonder, how can this be? And the answer is, you're right. They're not done. They're not finished. They're not mature. But the reality is, the facts say person can be legitimately awakened and still be, profoundly flawed, or still have major issues they have to work with. So that's the short answer.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
That was a lot of helpful information. The words nihilism and then lack of integration stand out. But thank you.
You're welcome, Andrea. It's wonderful to see you, by the way. You look awesome.
Yes.
As usual.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Yes.
We have 6 other questions. And
Oh, awesome. Yay. Yay. Good, good, good.
the next one is Anthony Cosell.
Ah.
And just to let you know, if you put your view onto speaker view, then automatically the person speaking will show up on your screen.
Oh, wow. We didn't know that.
Well, let's do that then.
Yeah, it's easy to do. All right.
There at the top on the right.
Mm-hmm.
May I go? Go ahead.
So now we get to see him for the time he's
Wow.
speaking.
He looks like a guru.
Wow. Hi.
Hi, guru.
Oh, it's just my blanket.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was one of those scarves, the special sacred scarves.
It's just kind of cold in here.
Oh, never mind. Forget it then. You're not a Guruji after all. Then.
No, yes, he is. Okay.
I was wondering if you could address the possibility of being like cut off from Kali Ma to go from 1,000 to like 600, such as like I've heard about court whaling and like with the Sahara transmission people.
The short answer is yes, that can happen. It did happen.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Let me say.
No, I want to hear.
Okay.
I want to hear a little bit more about your question.
Well, I was interested in the Sahara transmission for a while, but it just personally something felt off about it. So I was just investigating more thoroughly, and I wanted to hear like all sides of this. And one big sticking point for me was like, well, how can somebody go from like 1,000 to like the 600s? That's just something that I was confused about. So I was wondering if I could get some more elaboration on that.
I'll say something and then you say something.
Yep.
Okay. Let's say this much. Firstly, Ramaji and I want to honor any human being that wants to do good in this world, wants to spread a transmission, and we give them our full support. Having said that, as we are growing as a I don't know how to call what we do, but as the Rasa International is growing, what is tending to happen is a lot of people want to do their own thing, and we encourage that, and it hasn't been an easy process for everybody. But when it comes to giving Rasa, it is a very specific transmission. And the people that we train to give Rasa have to go through a very intense, I put them through a bit of hell. Okay, I'm not easy. And some of them come out and they're ready, and some of them don't. Having said that, some of them want to split up and get maybe a little bit upset and do their own thing. That's also fine. So what we say is, how do you know where to go here, what to do? I say, if somebody's transmitting from their heart, you're getting a benefit, by all means, go and try it out. Our only issue is, please not to say it is born from Rasa, it is Rasa, because it simply isn't. Once you're no longer a Rasa giver, it's no longer Rasa. We don't know what it is. We've never had it. And we bless whoever wants to do whatever they want to do. If you want Rasa, if you want the Rasa, if you want it from our people, the way to know is by either emailing Ramaji or I, or going onto the website and saying, these are the Rasa givers. These are the people that give the Rasa. Otherwise, we don't know what you're getting. We have no idea. We haven't gotten it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's always been a lot of transmissions in the world.
Yeah.
Shakti Pod, and it's a very old thing. But the Rasa is something very specific. It occurred in 2011, spring of 2011. And so people awakened very rapidly from this Rasa energy. It's not our personal energy, it's a divine energy. Now, you can think of it archetypally as Kali Ma, as that kind of divine feminine sudden awakening energy that's characteristic of her symbology. And so what we've learned, you see, is we've learned that when people awaken, see, if you go to 1,000, you're stable. It's not like you're going to drop. But what we've seen happen, and if you understand Kali Ma, it's not a big shock. If you understand that archetype, it's not a big shock. You know, that if they betray or turn upon the Rasa, Kali Ma, guess what? They get kicked out.
Oh,
they
okay.
get unplugged. It's what the Lord giveth, the Lord can taketh away. You know, and it's not personal for us. We hold nothing against somebody, court, or anyone else that's doing their own thing, even if they left the Rasa community and, you know, whatever they're doing, you know, we understand. We can accept that as human beings. But you see, Divine Mother, Kali Ma, the Rasa, is then going to withdraw its blessing. That person has bitten the hand that is feeding it. And I've simply observed that's what happened. So you know, you specified court's name. This is what has happened to court as far as we know. So
Okay.
he lost the support of Divine Mother, basically. And so she's pulled the plug on him. And so that's what we've seen with a few people, just a small number of people over the years. You know, and it seems when we talk about this, people kind of get it. They kind of understand it, you know. So it sounds like you understand it.
Yeah.
And everybody that is giving Rasa is at 1,000. They have to be at 1,000 to give Rasa. You see, that is how the purity of the transmission is maintained. Plus, we stay in touch with the people. And there are other transmissions, you know, where they let a lot of people learn the transmission and give it who were not awakened or not very awakened or certainly not at 1,000, and that polluted the transmission and weakened it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess I can say it like the oneness blessing or the Diksha, you know, that I've talked to a lot of oneness people and they agree, you know, that it, you know, definitely started out stronger and sort of deteriorated. So we're very concerned about maintaining the purity of this transmission. So that's the situation.
And that's really the reason why we take the training so seriously, because we like the integration of the person before us to be so solid so that when they're transmitting, there isn't any remnant of them. They are just basically helping this happen.
Totally out of the way.
And they're completely getting themselves out of the way. The minute it becomes about me, a guru, I'm all-powerful.
Yeah.
No, you know.
So there's more than 350 people around the world that have awakened from Rasa, more than 350 people that are permanently and stably awakened. Okay, I mean, you know, as far as I know, there's nothing else like it. And it's something very, very special and unique, and it is totally having to do with the Rasa energy itself. Okay? So, I don't know. So, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Or it's fine if you have more, because I think it's an important point.
Actually, yes, thank you. I know that was kind of a heavy question, but I think it was really important to hear because I know like a lot of my friends are looking into this stuff and we just needed some clarity. So I really appreciate that.
And having said that, remember, you are your own authority. How something resonates with you, what you feel around it is always going to give you that truth.
Yes.
You know, you just get a sense when you're around a person, when you're getting a transmission. Is this working for me? How do I feel? What, you know?
And it's true that some of them can be dirty. Some of them could have entities associated with them. That is true. And so it's not,
you know,
it's like anything else. It's not necessarily a simple matter. So it's good to ask questions. It's good to investigate. Ask people, what did they experience? Is there any dirty laundry? Is there any you know, bad stuff going on? It's good to research this because there is a reality that people are not clear who are giving the transmission. You know, that's what they're going to transmit.
But also having said that, we really want to say that Court's a wonderful human being. You know, he's a friend of ours. He always will be. You know, we really admire him. We support him. We support everyone who gives transmissions, and anyone who wants to try and be a spiritual teacher. We have no problem. You know, the only issue we have is please don't associate what anybody else does with what we do. This is Rasa, and unless you are a Rasa giver and you are, or someone who gives Rasa, or, you know, according to us, then it's got nothing to do with us, and we don't know. Okay?
Yeah, that's why we're going to maintain this list and keep it very current on the new website.
And that's the way to know. If you want Rasa, then you think it's Rasa.
This has come up, you know, this has come up now, so we have to make it very, very clear. You want to know who's certified and who's you know, who can trust. You know, so
yeah,
it's crazy. I know it's so crazy, but you know, you look in the history, various, you know, over the years, spiritual groups, gurus, this kind of stuff happens a lot, you know. People are people, you know.
Yeah, I think, and the other thing is, what's interesting is the LOC, what happens with the LOCs when they do this, fascinates me.
I feel sorry for anybody that, you know, I mean, honestly, it's
I think a lot of it's
you're getting
intention.
it through grace. You're getting this through grace. I mean, you know, and to turn on that is, I just don't understand it. But
anyway,
you know, yeah, it is a heavy subject for sure. Yeah.
Does anybody else have a question about this? Only because we've been getting, you know, a couple of emails, and we've been having problems with this area. So if there's anything else, maybe we just clear it up now once and for all.
Confusion.
Yeah. Can we? I wonder if we can get the full screen now. I think that question.
No, I can do it. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Gallery view.
Well, I was going to raise my hand.
Who's raising?
Okay, well, use the raise hand function. And
okay.
Who's talking?
Carnegie.
Carnegie.
Oh, the one and only Carnegie.
All right. Sorry, I can't see myself on the screen right now. I botched it all up. Anyway, hey, real quick question. While you were answering that last one, someone typed in a chat question of feeling like, how do you, and I know you've sort of addressed this, how does a person go from 1,000 down to 600? I mean, when your LOC is supposedly established at 1,000, I guess it's a loss of grace is sort of what you were saying.
You know, as far as I know, it is based upon the fact that Rasa is super accelerated, and it is indeed a gift given from God or Divine Mother, Divine Feminine, or whatever you want to call it. And it's a gift because it's not typical to be able, we have on a regular basis, somebody gets a 15-minute Rasa and goes to 1,000. Okay? Do you know any other time in history that's been happening? So you can say, oh, how can somebody go from 1,000 down to 600 and something? You could also ask, how the hell did they go from 600 something to 1,000?
Sure.
Or from 576 to 1,000 in one day? How did that happen? Well, the answer is we're dealing with something else. And if that power isn't happy with the way you're treating it after it gave you that gift, then you know what? It's up to that power, whatever it wants to do. It's not us. We don't hold resentment against any of these people, anybody. You know, it's not our way. We know that would hurt us to resent and want revenge and, you know, not be able to forgive. You know, we know that doesn't work for us. But the power behind this, you know, you're like dealing with something of such extraordinary intelligence, massive power, you know, an aspect of God that's, to me anyway, that's, you know, new, and it's for the awakening of the planet. So I hear your question, but it's just like, I know, I understand your question, but we want to emphasize this is all based on practical data, empirical data since 2011. And so there's like It's happened with, I don't know, 3 or 4 people, and they all, in a very egregious, very extreme way, turned on the source of their awakening. And all I can say is common sense says, you bite the hand that feeds you and you make it bleed and cause, you know, turn on it, then you know what? You're taking the risk that maybe it will not support you anymore. And that's all I can say. I mean, it's doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Doesn't mean, in fact, they can't go back up if they're willing to receive the grace again. Quite honestly,
Of course.
they can go back up. You see, I mean, Kali Ma,
Listen.
everybody's got to understand. I mean, if it works for you to accept that Kali Ma is behind this in a certain way, that archetypal energy, if you will, just study that a little bit. Get to know that, okay? That kind of divine power is not to be messed with. If it can wake you up in 15 minutes, guess what else it can do? Please do not screw with her. If you study Kali Ma, then all of this makes perfect sense. And in fact, I'm amazed that they're just not simply incinerated and their body goes up in flame, to be honest with you.
Stop that.
Okay, but I'm just
Stop
saying.
that.
I'm just
So is
saying.
that like the fallen angel, you know, and then the prodigal
If they
son?
can go back, if they come back,
Yeah,
when we had like somebody,
yeah.
you know, we won't say names, they came back. They were very humble. Okay, they you know, admitted, you know, I mean, it wasn't to us, it's to the source of their own awakening.
Yeah. All
They're
right.
back.
Perfect.
They get Rasa again and they're back. So you see, it's a game in a way. See what I'm saying?
But
It's that kind of fierce teaching.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to get too confused though, because again, in the 11, however many years, and even there's, I don't know anyone really who's dropped. Maybe these 1 or 2 or 3 people, but most people, you are just, and you know when you are awake,
They've all dropped in
awake.
relationship to me, which says something.
Yeah,
I think
you know,
it's all.
well,
Well, no, they've been in relationship to me, which is interesting because she's supposed to be the fierce one, but I'm the one that seems to cause the real trouble. You know, to be the real challenger. I don't know.
That's the residual stuff.
Yeah, you know, our style of teaching is very different. You know, not everybody understands it. It's okay. We don't even need anybody to understand it, or we don't want you to understand it. In fact, the less you know, the better, and the less you understand, because again, you know, it's just really about giving you guys the rasa, and it's fierce, tough love. It's targets what it needs, does what it needs to do. Our words are irrelevant. What we say, what we believe, what we do, it doesn't matter. You know, we can sit here and give you a satsang, and we can start to quote Ramana and this one or that one, and again, then we're putting you straight back into your minds, back into concepts, back into what did my teacher say, blah 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 blah. No, it's about dissolving the false. It's about having all that stuff just away, so that the self, the essence can shine. The words don't matter. You know, and so here we have a silent teaching, which is just beyond powerful. It doesn't belong to us, yet we're able to help other people, and other people can transmit it. And it's a wonderful way to help mankind awaken quick. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting. It really is. And Karnik, I don't know how that happens, actually. I really don't know how that drop happens to some people, and I don't know.
Well, it's a good way, the way Ramaji said it. I mean, if you can go from 0 to 60, you can go from 60 down to 0, maybe.
Yeah. I also think it has a lot to do with a person's intentions.
Yeah.
You know, when you have an intent to help a person, the person sitting in front of you is you. You are not separated from them. You are literally, you know, when we giving rasa, we become one with your essence. We are creating a bridge for you in a way. Our intention is so pure. We just want to help you, you know. So it's not based on a revenge or doing something better than the next person. It's just really love. So maybe intention has a lot to do with this as well. I don't know. And Gary G did agree with me on that. When we spoke about it.
Well, it's not, I mean, you know, in other traditions, I think there's plenty of examples of you know, basically if you you know, break free of, you know, if you reject something, something happens. You know, anyway, it's certainly a confusing and controversial subject, but it's only happened with a few people, and all of those people, in summary, it's happened with only, like, say 3 or 4 people that they've dropped like that. All of them did an extreme kind of rejection and, as far as I'm concerned, betrayal. And those that did come back returned. If they came back and said, okay, I screwed up, I'm sorry, and they got Rasa again, they went back. So it's a teaching. As far as I'm concerned, it's a teaching for the person.
Ongoing lessons.
Exactly.
And I can tell you the one recent one who went back, he's as strong as ever.
He's better than ever.
Better than ever. He is absolutely on.
Yeah. So you see, it's
fantastic.
It's the never-ending story.
Yeah.
You know, people are looking for enlightenment. Oh, good. Finally, you know, well, yeah, you're done, but you know what? There's always truth and consequences. You know, there's always, you know, action, reaction.
You know,
So,
I'm sorry.
Gary.
I'm sorry, Ramaji. I'm sorry to break in, but I feel very compelled to say, because I agree so entirely with Ananda. To me, and this came to me recently. I was not involved with this conversation, but to me, as far as I'm concerned, you know, your mileage may vary. As far as I'm concerned, it's about the intention. If the intention is there, everything flows from that. But it's about the intention. What am I about? What am I looking to do here? I know there's no doer, but you know what I'm saying? What's the intention? What do I want for this? And so when Ananda said that, bingo, it hit me. I think that's where it all comes from. As far as understanding the ins and outs and the mechanics and all, why and the wherefore, I don't get involved with that because my mind doesn't go there.
Yeah.
No mind.
No, absolutely. Intention. Yes.
Intention. Love.
Agreed.
Love.
Agreed.
We love our students with all our heart. So, you know, we want them to wake up, period. You know, we want the grace to work for them.
If you've lost that, you really lost everything. So anyway, let's move on. Let's have another question.
Hi. Yes, we have about 10 questions now.
Wow.
And the next one I have down is Christine Laschuk.
Hello. It's good to see you again, Ramaji. I haven't seen you in about
Hi, Christine.
about 3 years. I have a quick question. And do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but just a quick question. So I'm wondering, I currently am, well, I shouldn't say currently because it's been about 1.5 years, become aware of a block or some abnormality in my Kundalini system, and I'm wondering if Rasa will help move that or straighten that out.
Well, the short answer is there's a good chance that it will. Like we were just talking to somebody yesterday who was talking about they knew somebody that had been exposed to weird energy, had done a lot of psychedelics, and basically it screwed up their energy system. And they were saying that the Rasa was really helping them. So
well, I have not done any psychedelics.
Well, okay,
so,
that's good.
So I've got that one going.
So don't do any.
You're so sweet.
And but yes, because see what the Rasa is the first of all, it's not our personal energy, so it's a divine feminine energy. It's very soft yet very powerful, and it's a descending energy. And what it does as this descending grace or descending Kundalini or celestial Kundalini, you could think of it as, it activates the Kundalini, ascending Kundalini that most people are familiar with in such a way that it moves up directly up the central channel. So it enables the clearing of blocks to chakras and to Kundalini, because the descending, when the Rasa comes down, it opens the crown chakra, and the Shakti Kundalini in the body sees Shiva and then just rushes up to meet him. So there's a divine union in the crown chakra. So it's a whole thing. I can see this stuff, so I'm talking about what I see. And I could say there's a very good reason for why the Rasa is effective for working out Kundalini kinks.
Yeah, there's something going on between my 5th and 6th, and this has been here for a long time. And I just kind of processed through it. My Kundalini system is very active. I'm always in process and processing a lot of collective and stuff. So you can imagine that it's very uncomfortable for me at times. So I do have an appointment with you in January, and a full 2-hour thing to try and go through it. But I just was wondering, so that's all.
Yeah, I should be able to see where it's stuck and in what way and so forth, and help you with that. But yeah, the Rasa is not like a regular Kundalini thing. It doesn't like massively shock your system or any of that. There's no adjustment that you make to it. It just basically is cleaning out the pipes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's pure water flushing out your system. And so it's very balancing. It's in spite of it being so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next question.
The next person is David Holson.
David. Where's David?
Okay, speaker view. Let's try that.
I see you. That's not David.
No, it's not David. No. David, talk. Say something.
David, speak anyway.
Maybe you have to unmute yourself.
No one can hear?
No.
Can't hear him. I wonder if he hasn't unmuted himself.
He was on unmute. He's unmuted now. Let me see if I can find his screen. Maybe we'll go back to the next question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we'll go back to the next question. I'll send you a chat, David. The next person is Joseph Weaver.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi, Joseph.
Okay. Yeah, I had a quick question. I've seen you giving an in-person Rasa where you were feeling the energy above their head, and that's obviously not possible in a situation like this. But you say the process is the same in one of these like Skype group things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious, how can the mechanics work the same when you're not really feeling each one of us individually? Does that make sense?
Well, basically, that's a secret.
Mm-hmm.
But we can assure you.
We can't give away our secrets now.
We don't want you to go out there giving your own transmission and all that stuff. No,
yes.
Just kidding.
There is a certain method we use, and this method gets each of you individually, as it would one-on-one. Although I will say this much, there's nothing quite as potent as a one-on-one session, ever, because that we are with you one-on-one. So everything is about you in that session. But as a group, we're finding the synergy of the group, and the way this works it's really working. And there is a way we do this that makes it work brilliantly.
I mean, actually, we do feel the energy. It's not an obstacle
at all.
The Rasa has its own intelligence, and it wanted to start reaching out to groups. So it created a way for it to do that, and so that's what's happening. If it was based on our personal power, it wouldn't happen. You see, I mean, we don't imagine ourselves to be superhuman. I mean, so we were given a way to do this, and it does work, and it has. My impression is the group Rasa has its own quality, and and we're still learning about it. We know it's positive, and we know it's helpful, and it doesn't hurt anybody. But we're still learning a lot about it. I mean, people started telling us what they're experiencing that we didn't even know about. Like, people started listening to the recording and having experiences and even awakenings, and we were like, what? You getting it from the recording? We didn't even know that. So the answer is you are being given the Rasa individually, and even though it is a group, and I understand your question, but actually giving you the information about how it happens would not help you. It's really better for you to understand that your receptivity, your openness, you're willing to give this a, what do you call it, permission slip, is the best way to participate. It's going to come to you 100% if you're 100% available for it, whether it's a group or one-on-one. With that said, the one-on-one is best for the reasons that you're saying, that we get to focus totally on you. But so the the way I see it is the group Rasas are an introduction. You get a taste, there's a warm-up, and it gets you going, and then you go, I want this, I want to finish now with this. So it's like the group Rasas get you going, but we think for finishing the one-on-one is probably the best. You know, whether, you know, that's how we see it right now.
Unless you finish today, please God.
Although you can finish today,
absolutely. And the other thing, I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking, you know what, why seekers have one thing in common, really. That's the desire to awaken. You know, the theme, the word here is desire. So here we have a group. I mean, if you think about it, there are a group of us, and everybody has this desire. And so we have this group desire, which is big. And that energy alone is calling down and asking to awaken as a group. I mean, we're kind of co-creating something so magical. And I think it's awesome. And yes, it works. The energy is there. Trust me. Same.
Yeah, so it's part of the global awakening that's happening, this whole group thing, the Aquarian age, all that. So the group thing is part of how now the wave of awakening of enlightenment is taking place. That the group modality is actually part of how enlightenment wants to happen now for human beings.
I'm thirsty. Wait, did we satisfy? Did we give you a good answer?
Yes, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, nice seeing you. Okay, thanks. Who's next?
Who's next?
It seems like we lost David, so the next person is Kritz.
Hi, Chris.
Kritz, K-R-I-T-Z-E.
Kritz.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Kritz.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes, actually.
Okay, good. I actually wrote my question down in the chat. So I really tried to make myself understandable. I understood that there is the absolute, what we are, and then there is the relative, like our daily life, whatever, what we do. Could you?
Oh boy.
The point is what I want to understand is, or what I would like to know is, the absolute is who we really are. Like, I think you call it the self. And the relative is, you know, our daily struggle. I call it like that. You know, we try to do something, but everything is automatic. So actually we cannot do anything, but still we do something. And like, if we do a karma removal technique or something that helps in the relative world, makes it easier. But what does it do with the absolute? Where does Rasa come in? Because I understood that Rasa shows who we really are. It takes negative karma away. So how is Rasa working on us, on the absolute, on the relative?
Oh, the absolute doesn't need us to work on it. The Rasa is from the absolute to help you understand that you are one with the absolute. You're not separated from the absolute. How can you be? Your mind is. Yourself isn't. It's one thing.
I understand your question.
It's a big question.
And it's a question that in one form or another, a lot of people have on their mind. Okay. But unfortunately, the question is framed in a way that doesn't lead to an answer, because it assumes a division that doesn't exist. Okay, all there is the absolute. All there is God, or the self. There is nothing else. So you see, so if you want to approach it from the way you're talking about, which is of course, I'm sure a lot of people think that way more or less. Here's an image for you. Here's like a series of pictures, okay, to try to help you understand how this could work in a way of answering you, okay? So basically the absolute, when you are abiding in the self, living in the self, or living in the absolute, okay? It's as if you are now that which has always existed and has no other that it is relating to. There is no other in its experience. There is only I, or being. However, as I'm saying, there is no other, therefore there's no sense of a referral towards an I. So in a certain way, it doesn't know it exists. It's an unself-conscious consciousness. It's awareness that you could say is aware of itself, but doesn't know it exists in any kind of separate way. So there's no story at all. There's no past and future. There's no time and space.
It just is.
There's no manifestation. It's prior to all of that. So nothing ever happens.
Or has ever happened.
Or will happen. You see, so you can through your imagination go, okay, what if there's no other, nothing to refer to, then there's no here and there, there's no time and space. So then if there's no time and space, you see, that's a way to understand the absolute. Resting in that pure
being,
absolute beingness and isness. Now, for some reason, this perfect, completely whole, needing nothing, and just primordially perfect and pure, wholeness, isness, beingness, absolute, decided it wanted to be able to experience itself. But in order to experience itself, it had to create duality. It had to have an other for it to have a self. You see how that works?
Relativity.
You don't just have a self in the way we think about it. You have to have an other to have a self to have a dialogue with. So then the whole universe manifested from the absolute as the absolute, but pretending or playing, or the Leela of other. And thus we have self and other, we have duality, and then we have the whole universe. So you see, the thing to understand is, yes, there's this whole dream, this whole dance, but it is in fact still all the absolute. It's still all God. So there's no problem to be fixed other than to recognize that this, whatever it is in this moment, I am that, and that is the absolute. It is the absolute now, everything. Playing with itself.
Exactly.
That's the thing to understand. And then the heaviness goes away from the question. And the conflict and the split and the division that's implied is gone. Everything is that. Everything is that. This is that. Okay?
The struggle is the mind.
And it is that also. You see, so people go, oh, okay, Om, God, absolute. And then here we have, something to drink. Same exact thing. Both God, both absolute, both self, both Buddha nature. Totally, absolutely, all the time, everything. That's the thing to understand. And then that's what liberates you. That's what sets you free. Not leaving a relative world to live in an absolute world, but understanding the miracle of both and. Like, look here, God, look, Om, God, right? Whoops, what's that? Oh my God, what's that? Whoop, there's God again, there's the absolute. Whoops, what's that? See, that's what's going on. Only it goes so fast, I can't even do fast enough to go, whoo, 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 whoo. And then you've got both at the same time. You see how that could work? Both at the same time, right now, right here. Wow, that's just freaking amazing. So that's what you get. That's what you begin to see. You go, holy cow, this is so creative. This is mind-boggling.
Really.
It's so what creativity is the way to think about it. I mean, that's how I like to explain it. It's super creative, like a super Picasso, super Shakespeare.
But that's a good question, though.
That's a great question.
It went back to what I was saying right in the beginning. It's this idea that somehow the absolute is separated from our day-to-day lives. So then we have the karma, the struggles, the suffering, and then are we separate from that? No, the absolute is our day-to-day life. It's that nothingness had a desire to be everything.
This is it.
And the desire is the key word, the desire to be. So then you're no longer afraid of being yourself or acting as yourself or living your life and feeling your feelings, and because why? Because you are the self. You are that.
I mean, how limiting! I can only be Om, right? I can't like, you know.
Oh God, really? Come on. So yes, does that answer a little?
Yeah, it answers a little, and it brings up another thing, another question, which is, could it be possible that Rasa interferes with other divine energies? I'm asking that because you mentioned in one of your books Dr. Pillai. He's also a level of consciousness 1000. And he's offering programs. And I am in one of his programs, and I'm working also with the Risha master. And he says, stop doing Radha for now, because it might interfere with something here. I have to clear something up. And I'm really, because I've been doing Rasa for now, I don't know, a couple of months. And I'm a little bit confused now, because I thought all divine energies, they perfectly work well together.
Who told you to not get Rasa?
One of Dr. Pillai's Risha masters.
Okay. Well, the short answer is this. You know, empirically, what we're finding is it's not so. If somebody is working with a teacher who gives a transmission, if you're working with that person and you're actively engaged in their energy, their Shaktipat, their transmission, whoever it is, so, you know, whether you're working with us or working with somebody else, you should probably stick with that person and stick with that transmission until you feel you've done all you can do with that person. What you're talking about, as far as I'm concerned, is somebody is the activity of jumping around from one teacher or one transmission to another, and that's just not going to work for anybody. The Rasa is, they're not in conflict, but it's like anything else. You know, if you take a cup, you know, and you fill it up with something, it could be the best stuff in the world, you know, and then you pour in something else that is also really fantastic stuff, you know, what are you going to get? A mess. Does it mean that either one is bad? No, but it just means the human system is adjusting to a certain frequency and a certain energy. It's not that, it's not about the Rasa conflicting with other divine energies at all. The Rasa, but if somebody's attention and energy and intention is connected elsewhere, then their receptivity to the Rasa is limited. And also, you know, yeah, so there can be at some level of conflict, but
I would say,
I don't know.
you know,
stick to one at a time.
My advice is, if he's working good for you and this guy's giving whatever you're doing with him and you feel it's working for you, stay with that. And when that no longer works for you, or hopefully it will do the trick for you, but if it doesn't, then I would not work with different forms of energies.
I mean, if you're working with somebody and he tells you don't get anything else, if you are respecting that teacher, listen to him. You know, fine with us. I have told some people not to. I have told some people who are working with the teachers who are getting some kind of transmission, and they came to me and said, hey, blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, you got to work it out with that person. You got to finish with that person before you work with us. It's just the way it is. You know, it's not about this or that transmission or this or that teachers. You started something, finish it.
Finish it, yes.
Yeah. Now, we're just casually getting a transmission now and then. That's a little different. We're talking about more, if you have a relationship where the teacher actually tells you to not get somebody else's transmission, that's a pretty strong relationship.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then I would respect your teacher.
But if you just randomly get something here and there, you can still get raw. So it's about honoring the relationship that you have.
And
yeah. I mean, I'm confused about that because I just started with him, and I look at it more that Rasa is cleansing me and is taking all the stuff out to find out who I really am.
Think about it as you're getting Rasa to go to 1,000 today. This whole cleansing thing that people are talking about today, that's not what it's about.
We're waking you up, dude.
You want to wake up today. You want to wake up now. Okay, get Rasa. Get it from the group, get it from us, get it from another Rasa giver.
We're not cleansing
We
anything.
are not in competition with any other transmission. We're not here to clean you, cleanse you, get rid of your negative karma, any of that. That's not what this is. It's simply about the
Your
rocket
LOC.
ship to 1,000. So understand that. Be clear.
I was told I am 1,000, and I just noticed there's so much stuff going on right now, and I really have. Huh?
Who told you that?
The Rasa giver in Austria, Gunnar.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're at 1,000?
Yeah.
And so you're saying you're at 1,000 and you're having a lot of purification?
And no, I just noticed there's so much stuff going on, and I feel heavy and terrible and completely depressed. And so I'm just, asking somebody give me some air, and I'm asking for help, and I'm doing with Radha.
That's a different context.
Totally different context.
That's totally different.
That's post awakening stuff. That's can be very common. It's old momentum, old stuff. I would still say to you though, the person to work with is Gunnar on post 1,000 issues, or one of us. We address this stuff all the time with people. It's not always, as I said, it's not always easy. You don't just awaken and then life is just a breeze. It's often you have to work, like integration takes time. But I still wouldn't transfer and do too much at once. I would stick to the Rasa, and if I were you. If this got you to 1,000, stick with it. It'll get you past this.
I mean, if you're at 1,000, then you understand there is nobody there's nobody who's actually providing any resistance, and there's nobody who's really suffering. When you get to 1,000, there's an absolute and total full stop. And then life starts over again, but you're no longer attached to what's going on. There's no stickiness. What you're experiencing right now is residual stickiness. It's just a momentum of old habits of believing that this stuff is happening the way that you think it's happening. That's part of what gets purified. That's part of what gets eliminated. So all these things are in fact stuff that was in you. You couldn't get rid of it before you went to 1,000, no matter how you tried. Post 1,000, now with the I thought out of the way, the resistance out of the way, now finally all this stuff comes out to be eliminated. And it can be very intense.
It can be.
But honestly, when you're at 1,000, this purification happens automatically. It's really, regardless of what you're experiencing, because there's no resistance, it should be a very smooth process. Not saying it's easy, but it's simple and smooth. I mean, it's like you're in a washing machine all day long, I mean, and also see when you go to 1,000, the I thought's eliminated, and that's the reincarnating entity. You can have future lifetime karma with, which has to be eliminated. You can have a whole lifetime of karma you're having to work through now because you went to 1,000. So, because you're not going to reincarnate anymore. So you got to finish up all your karma now. So all of a sudden you can have a shitload of karma way beyond, or crap, or, whatever, depression, way beyond what you had before. And of course, typical, some people go, oh my God, this is totally messed up. But if you understand what finishing means and what getting done means, it means clearing everything out. And that could take 3 years.
And that's the post.
Depends on the person.
The post 1,000 Rasa is a different Rasa to what we do here. That's for purification, and that's for your integration. That's a different thing.
So it's like you go into your depression, literally move into it. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody who's depressed?
Yes. That's what I feel. You're talking of smooth and no resistance. I don't experience that.
Okay, well, there's a few people, and they literally mean a couple of people who do have, it literally stays stuck with the idea there's still somebody there, but yet there really isn't anybody there. I mean, we wish that we could talk to you personally for an hour and a half to try to help you with this, but if you're at 1,000, then you have a different way of relating to all this.
Do you feel you're at 1,000?
No.
Doesn't sound like you.
Because it doesn't sound like you are.
Yeah. Because basically, if you're at 1,000, then
I don't think this would be, you're answering the questions in a way that someone, it could just be maybe, maybe we'll talk to Gunnar, myself and Ramaji together, and we'll talk about you specifically, and we'll kind of
what's your name? What's your name again?
Christoph.
Christoph. Okay,
Christoph.
we can do that.
Okay,
we can do that. We can help.
We'll see what we can do.
Christoph from Munich in Germany.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, because this is obviously the kind of question that is a little hard to answer completely here. So I'll follow up with you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And you'll get past this. I promise. You'll get past this.
Yeah,
I hope so. Yes.
It's just there is a general, one of the things you can count on with Post 1000 is it's not going to be like you expected. Enlightenment is not going to be what you expected, no matter how many books you read or teachers you went to. It will not be what you expected. In a way, it'll be worse, and in a way, it'll be much better.
Exactly.
In the beginning, it's worse, and then later, it's much better.
In the beginning, it's amazing,
and
then it goes to worse.
It's this way for everybody. In the beginning, it's amazing, then it gets worse, then it gets much better.
Yeah.
But some people don't get the amazing or honeymoon phase in the beginning. A lot do. But don't think anything's wrong. Okay, it's just there's. I mean, think about it. Is there on all of Amazon? Is there a book on post enlightenment? The answer is no. So there's no information out there about the reality of what happens after you really awaken. I mean, we're working on something, to put out there for people because there's just no information about it, almost none.
But what we do is we help, and we connect you with other post 1000 people. And so you feel that you're going through this in a community, as if with a family. You're not alone, It's common. It's not, everyone's different and unique. As we were saying this yesterday, the whole process of awakening is so unique to each individual. It really is.
But we have to post 1000.
And he and I went through our own stuff. Believe me, you're not alone.
But I have to say, Gunnar is doing a great job. He's really helping me, and Carolina as well. But I wanted to take the opportunity to meet you today and to understand where Rasa is really coming from. So after reading your book and reading a lot about it, and I just wanted to experience you live, But thank you very much for your offer. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And Gunnar is amazing.
Yes, he is. Definitely.
Good hands, definitely. I'm not worried.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks
for asking.
Thank you.
Hi, we have 6 questions left.
Okay.
And I see David is back with us. So I'm going to try to unmute him. David. Yeah, unfortunately, we still can't hear you.
What does that mean? Oh.
Do you want to try chatting me your question?
We don't have that many more, and we don't have that much more time left. So we only have time for a few more questions because we got to give the Rasa.
Okay.
Or maybe you don't want to give Rasa today. What do you think? Maybe no Rasa today.
Who's got a burning question?
Punish all the bad people. Punish all the bad people. No Rasa for you today. Sorry.
Well, David, why don't we give you time to chat me your question? And maybe it's her now. No, and then we'll take Priya next, and then we'll go back to you, David.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the Adi Ashanti book. Let's just say I found it lacking. I mean, we have a lot of things to say about that are not in that book. Not that we don't think he's a great teacher and all that stuff, but it's,
I love Adi Ashanti. He's awesome. Yeah, maybe, whatever. Okay, who has another question?
Priya, I've just unmuted you.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hello. Priya.
How are you?
Hey, Priya.
I have a very simple question because this is from one of Ramaji's books, and you talk about before you can know the self, you have to know love, and I just wanted to know, what is love's relationship to awakening? Because when I talk to you guys, what I always feel is love the way love is supposed to be. It's free, it's kind, it's got this ability to just envelop everything, and I just kind of want to know, talk to me about love for a little bit.
Oh, another easy question. Thanks, Priya.
Thanks, Priya.
You're welcome.
You're putting us on the spot. Okay. Oh
my.
my gosh, Priya. Priya, you couldn't wait for our appointment, could you?
You are a jokester, Priya.
Oh, yeah. Priya,
Talk
love is the absolute. Love is everything. You know what? Let me read you a quote.
Okay.
Let me talk.
There's room for Rumi.
Here's a room for Rumi. Rumi writes something. This one I know by heart. He writes, "Fall in love, stay there."
Perfect. My question has been answered. I give the floor to the next person.
But remember, Priya, when you are really meeting somebody, let's say, and you fall in love with them, okay, I'll give you an easy understanding. What they're really doing for you is they are mirroring your own essence to you. You are the love all the time. We're living in a world that's continuously projecting. Everyone's your mirror. What they're raising in you is really, they think, oh, this person's energies, oh, they're scary. But it's their own stuff. Then you'll have another person who meets the very same person, and that person's like, oh, I just felt so much love around them. Why is that? It's because that person's, feeling a lot, it has that, is very in touch with their essence, their love. So what I mean to say is, when you feel that about Ramaji and I, it's because we are basically, what's the word? It's coming from her. You're feeling what you are. You are that love.
I would put it this way: love yourself totally,
Mm-hmm.
and you will discover that you are love.
Exactly.
See, easy question. Duh.
Easy. Well, love next. But seriously, and love is funny because, people think of it as like this energy or something, but actually, approval is very close to love. Acceptance is good. Approval, even more. So like, when we work with people with addictions, for example, somebody that needs to get over an addiction as part of their process, I'll say to somebody, let's say they smoke or drink or whatever too much, and say, can you approve of your addiction? Can you fully approve of yourself in every possible way? Now, it's total acceptance, total approval, total love. See, that's the disease. That's the problem, not the addiction, but that they're separated from their own essence, which is love. So love yourself with no limits, no conditions, and you'll either awaken or be on the verge of it, but you won't have any real problems anymore. And then finally, one other way to think about it is the absolute is peace, and when the absolute moves, it is love.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Or the true self is peace, and when the true self moves, it is love. Moving to the so-called other, which is itself. And that's love. Not loving others, but being love.
Being it.
See, loving others is a trap. Say, the way to solve a relationship is to not have one. Is that all is yourself, and you are that, and that is love. So you see, we have a relationship, and yet there's no relationship because we are the self. So as long as you're trying to solve other, you never can solve other, because other is itself not really real. It's not really true in that way. Other is a wisdom display of your own self, which is what Ananda was saying earlier, that people are essentially projections.
They're all projections.
Although they're valid and legitimate and real in their own way, we're not.
What is the finest projection you can get besides that gives you love? It is that actually makes you annoyed. Or feel something else. Why? Because then you understand what your work is. That's my work. I feel this around this person. Oh, but guess what? It's not them, it's in you.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it.
And so that's like the advanced level of love. In other words,
it is.
Love is like, oh, goody, they make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And the advanced level is not only do they make me feel good, they make me
uncomfortable.
See what I need to work on.
And that's very much the way I teach.
So that I can love more. And
I'm going to get you where you least expect it, because you think you're finished, but you may not be. So we have fun. We have a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun in all this. But yes, you always love. And you know what? Here's one more Rumi quote, because he's really my favorite before we give you the Rasa. This one is just cool for all of you. And it says, let's cleanse our minds of all our acquired knowledge. And when we're back to knowing nothing, perhaps we can aspire to be enlightened by the truth.
You guys are my roomie. What else can I say?
Oh my God, I mean, who needs anything else but roomie? I'm telling you, just nails it. Bam, bam.
Bam, bam.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I shall mute myself. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome, Priya.
Thank you, Priya. Well, we got a little more time.
Do
Okay.
we have time for David's question?
Yeah, oh yes.
Great,
Yes.
he chatted it to me. It's Ramaji. Can you describe the devotional relationship with Kali Ma? How does one cultivate such a relationship? Is it beneficial for Rasa receivers?
Well, if you feel called to do it, then do it. And the way to do it, I asked Kali that same question at one point, and what she said to me is, don't bother with mantras and all that unless that really turns you on. Basically, talk to me as your friend. I'm your divine friend, and basically think or feel that she is here with you, and talk to her. Have a conversation with her. That's what she said. And will it help? Well, if you're being called to do it, I assume it's going to help, you know, but nobody should feel they have to adopt a devotional relationship with Kali Ma, but you know, it's, you could have a devotional relationship to any form of Divine Mother or any form of
anyone,
God,
Jesus, you know,
yeah,
God.
Or any, Jesus, Buddha, whatever.
Any archetype.
It's basically the value of devotion itself, which is the opening of the heart, softening of the heart, and humility, and so on, and recognizing you're not the center of the universe, and that maybe devoting yourself to something, the ultimate being, is maybe a good idea. Might help, you know. So it depends. It's your own intuition that'll guide you on this. But as far as specifically with Kali, have a conversation with her, talk with her. And she'll give you short answers. She's a goddess of few words, but those words are very powerful. So that's what I'd suggest, you know, or think of her in your mind, you know, picture her. But yeah, I don't know what to say. If you want it, ask for it. You can also ask for dreams of her when you go to sleep.
But first understand her. You know, first
yeah,
I would
that's
definitely...
That's what we find.
The most important thing to do is you don't understand her. So you need to understand the energy. And the best way to do that is to read a few books, watch a few YouTube movies, you know. I mean, you really have to have an understanding of the energy.
Yeah, how her love works, basically. Her love is fierce. It's a merciless mercy. So if the child, the spiritual child, meaning us, has raised its hand, said, I want to awaken, then, and she's accepted your request, then you're in for whatever it takes. She will do whatever it takes to awaken you. And that's the thing to understand. You know, this is real. And once you say yes, you will be swept away. You will be carried forward that way by a tidal wave of awakening. So you know, yeah. That's it. That's all I got. Great question. I'm happy somebody wants to be.
Yeah, and we're going to put a little on Kali on our website as well. We're going to describe the energy to the best of our ability in a short way.
Yeah, we live in an internet world, you know, instant downloads, instant this, instant that. So, you know, here we go. You know, we got more or less instant awakening, at least for some people. Okay, next question.
The next person is Margie Biller.
One more question.
And I've just unmuted you.
Okay, thanks. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning, and nice to meet you, Ananda. So my question is pretty simple. What is the role of the pineal gland? Is it important in maintaining the rasas that you transmit? The health of the pineal gland, and is there anything that we can do to make it stronger that you are aware of?
Well, there's nothing in our research that has pointed to the pineal gland as being critical for the rasa. Basically, what the rasa does when it comes down is it turns your brain into light. So it's really, my guess, I mean, I am aware of the pineal gland, you know, and what people think about it. But basically the Rasa comes down and turns your whole brain into light, and then does the modifications that your individual brain needs for awakening and to be stable in awakening, so that the brain is upgraded for non-duality. So I'm just assuming, because I've never been shown anything, and I've studied this a lot clairvoyantly and so on, I've never been shown anything specific about the pineal gland. I assume the modifications that are needed are taking place, you know.
Hey, can I ask you something? Are you sleeping okay?
No, it's Margie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Margie. Are you sleeping okay?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I usually fall asleep right away, and I sleep, 7 to 8.5 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Lucky you.
I do have a little trouble getting to bed on time.
Okay. Yes.
Like maybe it's 11, 11:30, 12, rather than 10 o'clock.
I don't know. I was going to say something I've read somewhere. I don't know how true this is, or if it has anything to do with anything, or even if you should do this wrong. But melatonin.
Well, melatonin, yeah, but if she's sleeping well.
If you're sleeping okay, then it's a fine. But sometimes melatonin and the pineal gland, there is a connection. And sometimes, so when people have sleeping problems and they take like 3 milligrams, a tiny bit of melatonin, it's natural. It does have some effects on the pineal gland that's positive.
Yeah, I can research that connection, but I don't have trouble sleeping. I sleep pretty soundly, So.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I mean, there's like a theme here today, and I want to say to people, guess what, folks? It's simple. Live your life. Do what you want to do with your life, and get Rasa. Get vitamin Rasa, get the Rasa supplement, Rasa spiritual supplement once or twice a month. And just live your life, and there's a good chance you'll get awakened pretty quickly. All these other things I understand. It's fascinating, all these technical questions, because I'm very technical and all that, but I'm like going, whoa, this is too much. This is too much. Like, people are obsessing over, I'm not saying you're doing it, but they've heard all these things and they're trying to fit it into Rasa. Whereas in fact, Rasa is different than anything else, because it's taking, as far as I can tell, it's taking care of pretty much everything. So we don't need you to be on a particular diet. We don't need you to do a particular meditation. We don't need any of that. And as Ananda was saying, this has to do with the nature of the Rasa itself, that it comes from Kali Ma, that it comes from that kind of energy. If you're familiar with the archetype of Kali Ma, then you understand she doesn't give a damn about anything.
You really don't have to worry about your pineal
She'll take care of the whole thing.
Or your chakras, or your anything.
She's going to take care of the whole thing. She embodies the supreme power. I mean, if God wants you to awaken, is there anything you can do to stop it?
Nothing.
There's nothing you can do to stop it, you see. So if you want to awaken and God wants you to awaken, you're going to awaken. So this is the thing to understand. We want people to understand. It's actually super simple.
Look at Mr. and Mrs. Chen.
Oh, yeah. Hi, guys. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi,
that's so sweet.
They look beautiful.
Okay, so thanks, Margie. Hopefully that helps, but don't worry about it. And by the way, your pineal gland looks great. A great looking pineal gland.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, so how about we're gonna give the Rasa, and how about if anybody needs to take a break? Yeah, right. About time, huh? So if anybody needs to take a break.
Yeah.
So
finally, Lulu. Enough is enough.
I'm going to go take a break, and so if anybody else for a bathroom, whatever, and then it's a 2-minute break, and then come back and we'll do the 20-minute Rasa for the group.
I'm also going to go to the ladies' room.
Okay, so we're going to do the Rasa for 20 minutes. Going to be 20 minutes with eyes closed in silence. If you don't have your video up or a picture of you up, we would appreciate it if you do that. We prefer that. Other than that, and we're going to mute ourselves after we start giving the Rasa.
Just to let you know, there are some people with technical difficulties that can't turn their video.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. We'll still get to them. You know, we just like to be able to see you, but it doesn't matter because the way the energy works, it just blasts. It's like a tidal wave. It just saturates everything. So you can't hide. You know, if you're on this call, you can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide. You know, the Rasa is going to get you. Okay. That's what this is about. That's why you're here. Okay, so here we go. 20 minutes in silence, eyes closed. Okay. That's the Rasa. Thank you for being here. So many. Happy holidays. Please attend all Open Circle events, including ours.
Especially ours. No, we love Open Circle. They have amazing teachers. Go see all of them.
They're great.
They're just a great organization.
They've been here a long time.
I really love them. And thank you for the host for helping us today, because I know Kate's on a retreat. So thank you. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you do in all the different places and whatever it is, just enjoy yourselves. Have a lot of fun. Maybe I'll see you guys in January.
Yeah, we got that series in January.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hope. No. Unless you've awoken. And then I've got, of course.
Well, if you awaken, come back and help everybody else. Help us out. We need help. Okay, yeah. So love you all.
Love you all. See you soon. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramaji and Ananda.
You're welcome. Thanks, sweetie.
And thank you, everyone, for your questions today.
Oh, yeah.
The January Rasa series with Ramaji and Ananda starts on January 6th. And if you would like more information on that, you can go to opencirclecenter.org. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to everybody's questions today, but you can join us for the January series. And then just to let you all know, the next Open Circle call is with Sonia Amrita Bibelos, Receiving the Light of Christ and Abundant Love on December 17th. More information on the website as well. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.